Hey everyone, how I hope you're doing good. Today I want to talk about the newly released 2025-2030 Dietary Guidelines for Americans, which were released on January 7th this past week, and also the upside down pyramid visual that goes along with it, which has been also getting a lot of attention. There have been many reactions to these guidelines. Some are supportive. A lot of them are very critical, and honestly, I understand why. In my opinion, some of the criticism is absolutely valid, but that said, it's not all bad. There are some important positives here that do align with what many of us, especially dietitians, have been encouraging for literally years. My goal for you today is to walk you through what the guidelines get right, where they fall short, why the pyramid graphic is so confusing, and most importantly, how people with or at risk for heart disease should actually use these guidelines or what I recommend instead. So let's talk about the good stuff, what the guidelines get right. The new guidelines strongly encourage eating real whole foods, limiting the highly processed foods, reducing added sugars and refined carbs, choosing whole grains over refined grains, and including healthy fats in the diet. I think any dietitian would say that's a go. Okay, that's good. And those are things that we've been promoting for many, many years. All of that's fantastic. None of it is new. These are messages we've been sharing for years in heart health, diabetes care, and overall wellness. I'm also happy to see that fruits and veggies are emphasized, recommending 3 servings of veggies and 2 servings of fruit daily, and that the guidelines clearly state that foods like frozen and canned produce, they also count. I really like the fact that frozen and canned produce, um, fruits and vegetables are affordable, they're accessible, and they're just as nutritious. They can be just as nutritious as fresh produce, and so they absolutely deserve a place at the table. So that I was really happy about. But here's where the confusion starts: this upside down pyramid. Okay. At first glance, this pyramid seems to prioritize animal proteins, dairy, especially like full fat dairy. You see a carton of whole milk right there. Healthy fats. You also see butter there too. But also fruits and vegetables. They're at the top. And yes, it places grains, whole grains, at the very, very bottom of this pyramid. This visual alone has left many registered dietitians, healthcare professionals, and the general public kind of scratching our heads. We're a little confused. Why is this concerning though? What worries me most is the heavy emphasis on animal products, at least in the visual here, um, including the full fat dairy, the red meat, the fats like butter, and even beef tallow, which they mention on the website there. At the same time, the reason this is so confusing is that the guidelines didn't change from what they were previously. So the saturated fat recommendations remain no more than 10% of daily calories from saturated fat. But here's the problem. Those two messages don't align. If people truly follow the pyramid as it's shown, emphasizing those animal proteins and full fat dairy, it becomes extremely difficult if and unrealistic to stay under that saturated fat limit. And for heart health, that is a big deal because a diet high in saturated fats can lead to high cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. Let's talk about the protein also. Going along with that section of the food pyramid. Sticking to this section, the guidelines suggest that a protein intake of 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight per day. That's the guideline. This higher protein range does align with newer research, especially for muscle preservation and older adults and active individuals. However, protein needs still need to be individualized, and they do depend on factors like your any medical conditions you might have, your kidney health, your age, your sex, and your activity levels. And here's another major issue: if people rely on the pyramid graphic alone, They might assume that most of their protein should come from animal sources. But research consistently shows that plant based protein sources like beans, lentils, soy foods, nuts, seeds are associated with better heart health and longevity compared to diets heavy in animal protein. Another major concern, why are whole grains at the bottom of this pyramid? That to me is baffling. We have decades of strong evidence showing that whole grains improve cholesterol levels, they support your gut health, they reduce inflammation, they lower the risk of cardiovascular disease. So, moving whole grains to the bottom sends the wrong message, especially when fiber intake in the United States is already far below recommended levels. Okay. Another thing I had a kind of an issue with was that the alcohol message they sent was too vague. Um, so let's briefly talk about that. The previous guidelines did give specific limits. They said that up to 2 drinks per day could be allowed for men, and up to 1 drink per day for women. Now, in these current guidelines, the recommendations are simply to limit alcohol. And while I understand the intent, this I feel is far too vague to be useful for a lot of people. So there's no practical guidance at all, especially for those trying to reduce cardiovascular risk. A lot of people appreciate having an actual amount to go by. Then there's the added sugars and the sweeteners. I feel like the messaging here was also unrealistic. The guidelines state no amount of added sugars or non nutritive sweeteners is recommended. So, both added sugars and the non nutritive sweeteners, which are like those 0 calorie sweeteners. In theory, that sounds ideal, but in reality, it's not realistic. From a practical and behavioral standpoint, this kind of messaging can backfire. In my opinion, some non nutritive sweeteners like stevia, monk fruit, allulose, they are safe and can be helpful tools, especially for people with diabetes, people who are trying to reduce their added sugars in their diet, or those that are transitioning away from sugar sweetened beverages. The key message here is that nutrition doesn't have to be all or nothing to be effective. So, what should heart patients do? What should they follow? Should they follow this? That's the most important question. How should people with heart disease or those at risk use these guidelines? My simple answer is to take it with a grain of salt. Just remember, these are guidelines, not the law of the land. And honestly, when has the general population ever strictly followed the dietary guidelines? Anyways, we don't. We've consistently, historically, not followed them. We're always consistently low in whole grain intake, fruit and vegetable intake, low in fiber. Um, so, my heart healthy takeaways here. If your goal is heart health, here's what I recommend focusing on instead. Okay. I want you guys to prioritize nutrient dense whole foods, which, yes, this also says it prioritizes. So do that. Limit the highly processed foods or a lot of the ultra processed foods, added sugars. I prefer, this is what I'm going to tell my patients, use the American Heart Association as a guide, especially when it comes to the added sugars, because they were not very clear in these new guidelines, but the American Heart Association does have clear guidelines. They say to use, for men, they should limit their added sugars to 36 grams a day, and for women, 25 grams a day. So, very, very specific. Okay. Also, I do think it's important to keep your saturated fat intake under 10%. I feel like that's a good starting point for a lot of people, especially if you follow a standard American diet. But also, it's good to remember that the American Heart Association, if you have heart issues or history of heart disease, they actually recommend keeping your saturated fat intake a bit lower, of only 5 to 6% of your total daily calories should coming from saturated fat. So just keep that in mind, okay? That can be like an ultimate goal. Also, get more fiber. So this includes whole grains. And I didn't mention the new guidelines say they're recommending only 2 to 4 servings of whole grains a day, whereas the guidelines recommended, I think it was 6 to 11. So they drastically cut back on the grain servings. So, but yes, you can get more fiber from whole grains, fruits, vegetables. beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds. So make sure you make those foods a priority. And please, while full fat dairy may have a place for some people, and a lot of the research doesn't say it's even nearly as harmful as other sources of saturated fat and fat. Don't interpret these guidelines as a green light to eat large amounts of butter, red meat, or beef tallow. Okay, because these foods are well documented to increase cardiovascular disease risk. Okay, very, very important there. My final thoughts, I personally am still going to recommend the USDA, the plate method, hands down, because it's clear, it's balanced, it's evidence based, and it's far less confusing than this new upside down pyramid. Okay, and if you are feeling confused by the new guidelines, just know that you're not alone. Everybody is right now, but focus on what we know works for heart health, and don't let a single graphic like this undo years of solid nutrition science. If you want to look into the new guidelines yourself or download a copy, you can check out the first two websites I listed here. And if you'd like to learn more about the plate method, which is what we've been using since 2011, then you can check out that third website. And of course, the American Heart Association website is a great resource for any specifics like how much fiber you should be getting, how much added sugar you should be getting. So still go by that organization. Okay, those are my thoughts on these new guidelines. So thank you guys for listening, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So let me know. Thanks.